Everybody quiet down, quiet down. I have the honor to introduce our guest speaker this morning, Dr. Chris Jones. Dr. Chris Jones, the 2022 Democratic nominee for the governor of Arkansas, was the first African American to be nominated governor by a major political party in the state of Arkansas. His campaign launch video was the most viewed campaign launch video in the country for the 2022 election cycle. Before his run for governor, Dr. Jones served as the executive director of the Arkansas Regional Innovation Hub, where he helped dozens of entrepreneurs launch and grow businesses and created programs that trained thousands of Arkansans on various STEAM fields. Dr. Jones holds 5 degrees, including Math and Physics Bachelor of Science degree from Morehouse College, a Master of Science in Nuclear Engineering, a Master's of Science and Technology, and Policy from MIT, a PhD in Urban Studies and Planning from MIT. He and his wife, Dr. Jerrilyn Jones, an emergency room physician, live with their 3 daughters in Little Rock. Dr. Jones is a proud Arkansas Boys State alum. Join me in giving Dr. Jones a warm Boys State welcome.
Boys State. Yeah. How y'all doing today? Good. I had the pleasure of hearing my wife speak at Girls State yesterday. The energy level here, I'm telling you, they were great, but y'all are through the roof. And it's an honor to be here. I'm excited, and I'm a proud Boys State alum. I'm not going to tell you what year, because that was too long ago. But I want to share a few things with you all today. Here we go. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his. And Jill. All right, that's good. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Up above the world so high. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 merrily. All right. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty. All the king's horses and all the king's men. Why? Not why did they not put Humpty back together again? But why did you all fill in the blanks when I didn't ask you to? You thought it was the right thing to do? All right. I hear you. Anything else? What was that? Because you knew the words, so it was okay to repeat them? And here's my second question. How did everyone know the same thing? It's a nursery rhyme. You grew up listening to it. It's a part of your history. You repeated it over and over again. It's a part of your history. You knew it in your DNA over and over again. So that's how you could do it. Now I'm going to come back to that in a second. But what we see here is that without me saying anything, you all had the same expectations. If I start something and you recognize the pattern, and I leave a blank, you know to fill in the pattern. Because your lived experience says that in this gap, here's what's coming next. You recognize the pattern, and you had a set of expectations. That's what happened this morning. We're going to get this to work. You said what? Oh, you set me off there. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see over here. Hold on. Wait, I need the advance. You go, all right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So to understand it, let's go back to the beginning. No, you go ahead. Okay, back to the beginning. Not that, it works perfect. There you go. Not that far back. Big Bang beginning. But your beginning. Yeah. Let's go back to the beginning of your life. And let's see what happened. So part of our early experience, without us even knowing to do it, we do it. And those of us, and I believe everyone in this room, was very aware of who you were. And as you grew, you became more and more aware of yourself. And the old adage is to know thyself. And question, do you know who you are? I love this because that's right, I'm talking about you. Or maybe I'm just a cute picture. Because sometimes these questions come up. And that's not the only question. I mean, there are a million and one questions that we internally ask ourselves from a young age. What's life all about? Why am I here? What should be expected of me? How do I function? How do I navigate the world? How do I understand expectations and then meet those expectations? How do I see patterns in life that allow me to do what you all just did, to fill in the gaps based on those patterns? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I gained that understanding. For me, I gained understanding by my faith, my family, my friendships, and my mentorships. So my personal faith is the Christian faith. It helps me to understand the why of the world. My family gives me belonging, and I have 3 amazing daughters and a wife who's phenomenal. She's an ER doc, raised in Alabama, Howard grad, then went to Harvard Medical School. She was working the finish line during the Boston Marathon bombing. She served overseas in Afghanistan. So that's my life partner, my family. Tons of friends. You all are developing friendships. These friendships will last a lifetime. Friendships matter. I got friends in the room here at the back. And mentorship. This guy at the bottom is an astronaut. He's a NASA astronaut, been up more times than anyone else, Franklin Chang Diaz. That's me standing beside him. You can't see it, but I was there before one of his last missions when he was doing training. And he taught me so much. So I want to tell you my journey, how I got here, and then a couple of secrets, and then I'm going to come back to those nursery rhymes. And I'll be sure to save some time for questions. There we go. For me, it began a long time ago in South Arkansas. And my nephew is here. He's a Boy State alum. He's one on staff now, Leon Jones III. So his lineage traces all the way back over 200 years in South Arkansas. But I personally was inspired by a bunch of folks. The Challenger accident, Martin Luther King Jr., that's who inspired me to go to Morehouse, and then Ron McNair inspired me to go to MIT. I have no idea why I put the car in the slide. I know back in the day my dad had a Volkswagen, so maybe it was cool. You say what? Because I wanted, there you go. There you go. I took a ride. And has anyone ridden in a Volkswagen? Beetle? Yeah. And ours had a hole in the bottom, so we would drop pennies down as my dad was driving. Look, for me, my journey was I call it the slowest lightning speed ride ever. Graduated from Watson Chapel High School, came to Boise State, played sports in high school, and then that's when it really took off. So when I left Watson Chapel in 1995, I went to a place called Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, at the bottom. From there, and that's where I studied physics and math. From there, my journey took me to MIT. That's where I studied nuclear engineering, technology, and policy. Walked the halls with Nobel laureates, all because of the foundation I got here in Arkansas that you all are getting, all because of the relationships, all because I had help understanding expectations and seeing patterns. That took me down. I ran a few nonprofits, Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative, Arkansas Innovation Hub. Then I ran for governor. Now I've started a couple of organizations. But the real question is, with all of that, what did I learn? What did I learn that might be useful? I want to share a few secrets with you all this morning. Just a few. The first is that great minds have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Great minds have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. So when you see something and you say it can be better, it doesn't have to be this way. When you notice a gap and you say, I can create something that doesn't exist to fill that gap, that's your greatness coming through. And I personally believe that every single one of you in here and every one of us is a genius. Part of the journey is figuring out a genius in and at what. What is my true genius? Maybe it's art. Maybe it's math. Maybe it's science. Maybe it's business. Who knows what it is? You're a genius, and your job is to find that genius. And with your great spirit, ignore the mediocre minds. So, first piece of advice, get a tight bod. Yeah? Come on, Boise State. I see you. All right. Yeah. Get a tight bod. Yes. Now see, some of y'all thought it was something else. Build a tight board of directors. I know, you're like, man, you disappointed me there, guy. You can have a tight physical body, but build a tight board of directors. Some of the biggest, most successful companies in the world, that some are located here in Arkansas. Part of the reason that they are so successful is because they have an effective board of directors. Why not have your own personal board of directors? Now, what does that look like? So yeah, by the way, not a tight physical body, but a tight board of directors. Now, you need somebody who understands money, how to get it, how to keep it and multiply it. You need someone who understands process. You need someone who understands how to market you. You need someone who can network you. So think about who you're running into that can be a part of your personal board of directors. There may be other roles, but those are some key roles for your personal board of directors. Some of your advisors here, some of the folks who run the Boise State, these are people to think about. Hey, would you be on my board of directors? I notice you doing X, Y, and Z, so I want some of your peers. You say, hey, I see that you're great at doing X. I'd love for you to be on my board of directors. So that's the first secret, and I have had one forever, as long as I can remember. A circle of people who would advise me in the times, especially when the tough decisions need to be made, but really all the time. Now, the next piece of advice is be real AF. Yeah. I'm sure you caught on by now that I'll probably have another meaning by that. And the other meaning, for starters, is be real, authentic. I know you were like, what? Hey, get your mind right. Authenticity is the intersection of your beliefs and values and your action and behaviors. So when your actions line up with your beliefs, when what you say is aligned with what you do, that's authenticity. And I'll tell you, when I launched my campaign for governor, folks said, all right, you got to choose. You're going to be the kid from the South. You're going to be the rocket scientist. You're going to be the guy who started companies. You're going to be the guy who ran nonprofits. Who you going to be? Decide. And my board of directors and I said no, because I wanted to show up authentically. And it matters. It matters. It matters. So be real authentic. The other part, oh, by the way, on authentic, we got enough authentic jerks out there. So this is my plea to you all. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. If we could just get people to stop being jerks, then we could advance way further than we are. A lot of our division and discord and frustration and stress comes from folks you're just being a jerk for no other reason than you want to be a jerk. So don't be an authentic jerk. We have enough of those. Be an authentic good person. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. How do you get out of your jerkness? How do you get away from being a jerk? Conquering yourself. And if you can conquer yourself, you can conquer the world. So conquer yourself. That's when you know you're mighty. Be real AF. What's the next part? Be real authentic. Be real forgiving. Be real forgiving. Have grace. Have it. Have it. You will make mistakes in this world. You will mess up. Other people will mess up as well. So why not just say, I'm gonna forgive you? Because at the end of the day, when you hold on to that anger, frustration, stress, that is I'm a physicist, and I believe in the principle of conservation of energy. Like, I want my energy conserved and used explicitly how I want it to be used. When you're angry, that's energy wasted. Now that's energy you can't use to think about the new AI technology. You can't use that energy to think about, how do I take my football game from throwing a 50-yard spiral to throwing a 70-yard spiral. So you gotta really focus your energy, and the way to do that is to be forgiving. I love this quote. It says, better a patient man than a warrior. A man who controls his temper than one who takes a city. Patience is necessary for forgiveness. And you notice I keep going back to, it's about how we control ourselves. Each of you all have a lot of power. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of power. I could feel the energy in the room. I can sense the energy in the room, and that energy comes from your power. The question is, how are you going to use it? How are you going to use your power? Are you going to use it to be wild and destructive, or are you going to use it to be focused and productive? Now, I learned a ton more, but I'm going to share two things. One is real leadership embraces diversity. Now, and I love the fact that you got 3 white guys that are top of their game, and they're saying real leadership embraces diversity. From Churchill, who said diversity is the one true thing we all have in common. Celebrate it. We're all different. We're all made different. We're all unique. So instead of wasting energy on fighting it, just say, hey, let's embrace it. That's what I love about Boys State. Because Boys State brings together different individuals from all over the state for a week of excitement, of learning, of bonding, of mayhem. I'm sure I had some mayhem this week, and that's okay. You can get a little bit of that. So lastly, I love this quote by Albert Einstein: a true genius admits that he or she knows nothing. Real leadership is knowing that you don't know everything. I said every one of you is a genius, and I believe that. True genius is knowing that there's more I don't know than I do know. And I'm an ordained minister, as a man of faith, my Bible tells me that I know a finite amount, but God knows the infinite. As a physicist, I'm an engineer, a scientist, a rocket scientist. My science tells me that we understand less than 5% of the known universe. So 95% of the universe we know nothing about. So whether I put on my science hat or my faith hat, I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. I know a little bit. The beauty in that is that there's so much that I can learn. Now, one of the things that I learned along the way is the importance of how we engage in various processes. So I'm gonna take a PSA. I'm gonna give a pause or give a little commercial for why you all need to be civically engaged. You can see here in the chart, election day voting, Arkansas's bottom. And there are many reasons why people say, I shouldn't be engaged, I shouldn't vote. And one of the things that people often say, let's take a look at this by age, it's not great. But we could be better. People say, oh, my vote doesn't matter, it won't make a difference. Here are 3 different examples, there are many more. The election of 1824, the election of 1876, and the election of 2000. 1824, that election was decided by 1 vote in the Electoral College. 1. 1876, that election was decided by 1 vote in the Electoral College. 2000, Bush Gore, y'all wasn't born. Go back and look at it though. That election came down to 1 state. 1 state. And when they stopped the counting, 1 state had 537 votes that decided the election. Now, we can talk about who to vote for and what to vote for, but I think the most important conversation and question is to be engaged and to vote. And I think it could be no better represented than in this graph, in this cartoon here. People say, well, we didn't vote because it won't make a difference. 2/3 of eligible voters don't vote. 2/3 of eligible voters don't vote. So if 2/3 of you all said, and I know I'm telling you stuff that you know because you're the leaders in the state, but I'm giving you this so you can go back and tell your friends and your family. Because I know all of you. Raise your hand if you're 18 and can vote. Raise your hand if you will be 18 in the next year and can vote and will vote. So all of you, 100% voting from this group, you all need to be in that side because we want to reduce the number of folks that say we didn't vote because it won't make a difference. All right, I'm going to end with where I started. We said we knew the nursery rhymes because we learned it in our history. We said we knew it because we understood the pattern. And George Eliot said that history repeats itself. Well, I asked the question, does history repeat itself or does it rhyme? Does it repeat itself or does it rhyme? Does history repeat itself or does it rhyme? You looked at the different elections. Is that repeating or is it rhyming? And there's some that say that history repeats itself because, I say some, I actually am the some that said this one. History repeats itself because we fill in the blanks with what was there before. The reason you all repeated that nursery rhyme was because you decided to fill in the blanks with what was there before. You made that decision. Sometimes it's okay, it doesn't matter because it's just a nursery rhyme. And you're saying, Jack and Jill went up the hill. That hurt no one. It's cute. It's a way for us to remember things. But sometimes it actually matters. And let me go back. Oh, hold on, one wrong way. Could you go back 3? Right there. Yep. Mark Twain is reported to have said, history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. That's where it came from, it reportedly. So here's what I want you to do. In your group, in your county, and y'all got to figure this out because you're brilliant. Because I really believe that we have the power to fill in the blank however we want to. Instead of saying Jack and Jill went up the hill, we could have said Jack and Jill went up the something else. So here's what I want you to do. In your groups, I'm going to give you about a minute to do it. So you got to figure out. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Up above the world so high, and then twinkle, twinkle, little star. I'm going to ask each of you in your groups for a minute. And now you got to figure out how to do it, because you're brilliant, to fill in the gaps with something that wasn't there before. All right? Fill in the gaps with something that wasn't there before. And you're going to have somebody to report out, because I'm going to ask each group to quickly tell us what you fill it in with. Okay, go. Oh, no problem. It happens. So you want to keep this?
I'm going to put this one down there. Whenever you call it, people will make a line.
Do you want them put them down there?
No, they can all just come in one line.
I like that. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Hey, love you back. Who said it? There we go. Love you back. And I love all y'all. I'll tell you why a little bit later. Okay, you got about 30 seconds. $20 seconds. 10 seconds. I got my own clock. All right, let's line up. Send your representative over here, and we're going to see what y'all came up with. So send your representative over here to the mic. Woo! Let's go. Yeah. All right. Send your representatives down. I think you can go right here. Yep. So here's what we're going to do. Let's see how you all fill in the blanks. Okay. First county, go for it. You want this one?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My name is Bo Reagan. I'm from Sanders County, the best county. And we came up with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder how you fly, up above the world so high, so beautiful that it makes me cry. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder how you fly.
All right, yeah. Not bad, not bad. All right, I see you. Next county, let's go. That's pretty good. Hope somebody's recording this.
How are we doing, Boy State? All right. For what I got, we got Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder how bright you are, up above the world so high, Cotton County never dies. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, Cotton County runs so far.
Oh, all right. I see you. I see you. Look out now. I love it. Here we go.
Pipe down, pipe down, pipe down. What's up, y'all? My name is Nicholas Easter. I'm from Wilbanks County. So the poem we came up with, it's a little unserious. My voice is a little hoarse, so don't mind me. It says, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where's your car? Let me cook. Up above the world so high, oh, laugh with me, not at me. Up above the world so high, oh, I hope you'll fly so high. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, oh, I hope you go so far. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. Yeah. Love it. Let's go. Call an audible. Real-time remix.
Real-time remix.
Real-time remix.
My name is AJ Taylor. I'm from Rooks County. We said, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder who you are. Up above the world so high, how do you climb up so high? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, Rook County sets the bar.
All right, set the bar. Yeah, let's go.
My name is Jalen Brooks. I'm representing them boys in Womack County. All right, we got twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder how high you are. Up above the world so high, like a radiant beam of light. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, please show us how bright you are.
All right, yeah. Love it. Go for it.
Hey, I'm Kobe Lewis from Hanner County. Here we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, Hanner County never dies. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, we gon' dream forevermore.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh. What you got?
I'm Gabriel again from Qualls County. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder why you fart. Up above the world so high, your cholesterol is in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, Qualls County will go far!
Oh, yeah. You better have high cholesterol. Go ahead.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder oh so far. Up above the world so high, like an airplane in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, Carville County, we so hard.
All right. I love it. Hey, give yourselves a round of applause. Everyone. Look, I'm going to take some questions, but I want to say this before I do. Remember what you just did. This nursery rhyme is one that we all know. You can literally travel the country, the world, and people will fill in the blanks on this nursery rhyme. People are doing the same thing that we've always done. We have the power to change what's put in the blocks. In fact, you all will determine in the next chapter of history how those blanks are filled in. Will you repeat history and do the same thing that we've always done? Low voter turnout, division. Will you fill in those blanks with a different history? To say that no, actually these challenges that we face, we have all the brilliance we need to solve those challenges. And we're going to fill in the blanks by working together, by loving each other, and saying that our power combined, and I'm a Gen Xer, so we had Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Go look that up later. But by your powers combined, you actually can solve any problem that you face. And you actually can rewrite what is in those blanks and make history rhyme, not repeat. So with that, let's get some questions. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. Question? Yeah, cool, perfect.
Real quick, Dr. Jones, he's going to take a few questions.
I'll take a few questions. I'll be quick in my answers. I think they're going to have mics on the side, right? Yeah. Yeah. Jack and Jill went up or did they? Or did they? Aha. All right.
How you doing, Dr. Jones? I had the opportunity of meeting you during the Vivian Flyers campaign at the Alpha Scholarship Banquet. What are 3 qualities you think us as leaders should embody to lead large groups of people?
The 3 qualities?
Yes.
Authenticity, grace, and a willingness to be brave enough to fill in the blanks with something different. Because let's be clear, it takes bravery when someone says, Jack and Jill went up it takes bravery to say, well, it's not a hill, maybe Jack and Jill ran up a bill. It takes bravery to put something different in the blanks. So that's what I would say, those 3 things. I mean, of course, there are many more, but that's a good question. Go over here. Yes. All right. Hey, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jones. Do you think that when there's low voter turnout and we get a governor with like a third of the state voting, there becomes a legitimacy crisis for our government?
So, I missed part of that. So lower voter turnout.
So when we have low voter turnout and let's say like 33% of the state votes for the governor, do you think that creates a legitimacy crisis for the government?
So the question was, does low voter turnout create a legitimacy crisis? Yes and no, right? Because our system is that those who vote decide. So if we stay home, we are saying that I'm not going to participate in the system. So it's hard to then say that just because of low voter turnout, then it's illegitimate. Now, I will say that low voter turnout determines whether or not you have your finger on the pulse of the people. So if you have low voter turnout, and that's what got you in, it is incumbent upon you to then go, if you want to serve everyone, to go to everyone, even those who didn't vote, and say, I am a representative for this area, for you all, and I want to truly represent you. So I think the onus becomes on the elected official. Good question, though.
You have several college degrees. Do you think that getting all those degrees were necessary and or helpful in being as successful as you are today?
So he said I got a lot of college degrees. That's true. Necessary and or successful, I think that's the wrong question. I think it's a good question, but it's the wrong question. I think the right question is, were those my path and my journey? Right, so here's another, I'll tell you 2 quick stories. One, Oh, it's really one story, but two parts. One, when I knew from the time I was 8 that my journey, I wanted to go to Morehouse and then MIT. Love Arkansas, absolutely love it. But my journey was to leave and go to Morehouse and then MIT. I only applied to Morehouse College for undergrad, nowhere else. I only applied to MIT for grad school, nowhere else. Not because it was necessary for anything later, but because it was necessary for my path and my journey. So I tell you all, put some energy towards understanding your own path and journey, and then be willing to make the bet. So I went all in on myself because I believed that was my journey, and I still believe it. I'm asking you all to go all in on yourselves. Some of you all, that might be 10 degrees. Some of you all, that might mean not going to college. Some of you, who knows what it means? You are the only one that knows. So, appreciate that.
Hello, my name is Joseph Kincannon, and I was just wondering, the next state election year, are you planning to run again for governor or maybe senator, or do you plan to focus on your nonprofits or anything else?
Say that one more time.
Do you plan on running for governor or senator maybe the next state election year, or do you plan to focus on your nonprofits?
Y'all plan on running again?
Yes.
And by the way, y'all, some of you all know this, but I cannot hear out of one ear. And so that's why I'm asking you all to repeat multiple times and ask you all to, that's just, I've never been able to hear out of this ear. And I have no shame about it, because I am who I am. So don't have any shame about who you are. Time will tell. So the question is, will I run again? We are putting in work now to make sure people go out to vote, make sure people are signing these ballot initiatives, and doing the work now. That will determine after November whether or not the conditions are right for me to run again. Look, regardless of whether I run again, I love Arkansas, and I'm committed to doing everything I can to make Arkansas a better state. So whether it's me or you or you or you, I want really good people running for office and being in office. So, but stay tuned. All right. I think it probably works. Yeah, so you're 16. Look, I'm 47 now, and I'll look at a 77-year-old and say, hey, I want to be in your position one day. And what I'm reminded of is that the position that you are currently in is the position that's necessary to make change. So it's not about the 30-year wait. How do you do it now? Showing up at Boys State. How do you do it now? Volunteering to work with and for people who you care about and who you believe in. How do you do it now? By actually taking time to listen, actively going out and saying, I grew up in a missionary Baptist church with 2 black parents that were both educated. It's incumbent upon me to go and find someone who grew up in a single-family household and grew up Muslim or grew up atheist. It's incumbent upon me to go from Pine Bluff to Harrison and say, this lived experience is different from my lived experience. So I would say at 16, that is the best time to do it. You don't have kids, you don't have a wife, you don't have big responsibilities. Now is the time for all of you all to really expand the aperture of your view and get to experience other people, other environments, because what that'll do is it'll give you the tools in your backpack that you need for when those different moments along your journey come. So I'm actually pumped about where you are, because where you are is the place and the energy and the space that all of us need in order to fill in those blanks in a way that gives us the better Arkansas, the better U.S., the better world that we deserve. So thank you. All right. Appreciate you all. Boys State 2024. Yeah.
Dr. Jones, on behalf of Boys State, we want to give you this. Join me in thanking Dr. Jones one last time. Modium, I can, Join me in welcoming Senator Steve Crowell.
Wow, how excited is Boys State? Let's hear it again. Y'all can do better than that. Let's hear it again. Come on, some of y'all are sitting down. Come on, stand up. Well, it's great to be here. It's an honor to be here. I hope you're learning a lot. Are you learning a lot? Great. Well, I just want to say thank you to the American Legion for their hard work and always putting this great event together. Let's do a round of applause for the American Legion. You know, I was thinking about what to say to you guys today, and I'm going to be brief because we got a whole bunch of other folks back here, and they talk a lot more than I do. But I'm a stand-in. You were supposed to get Senator Steve Kroll, but unfortunately, Senator Steve Kroll's sick. So you get me. And I was listening to, yeah, thanks, appreciate it. I was listening to Dr. Jones a second ago, and one of his points was have a tight bod. So, how about, thank you. Yeah, I was making that joke backstage, and I thought, it's too good not to, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. No, I was thinking about what to say to you guys today. And I was just thinking about who you are. You're leaders in your community. You're leaders in your schools. You're leaders here. You have a very important role as the future and the next generation. And I'm really proud to stand before you here today. So I'm going to go ahead and invite, I guess, all of my colleagues to come on out, have a seat. Go ahead and give them a welcome. Now, don't give them more applause than you gave me, okay? And I'm really just the hype man out here for my colleague and friend, Representative R.J. Hawk, who you'll hear from in a minute. I'm better looking, clearly. He's got a little more height, but I look better. I get it. It's fine. Thank you. Okay, no applause? Okay. But as I was thinking about what to say to you, those of us here on the stage, but you're leaders right now in your own time, in your schools, in your communities, in your jobs, whatever the activity is that you do, you're leaders. So I thought, what can I say that's made a difference or can make a difference but's made a difference in my life? And I thought about a couple of things. And that is, be committed. And I was thinking about what does it mean to be committed, and I was thinking about some of the things that I've tried to apply in my life, and came up with 3 things. Be committed in faith, be committed in service, and be committed to standing. And whatever that might look like for you, to stand. But I'll get to that in a second. But I was thinking about faith, and I was thinking about, in my life, my faith in Jesus Christ has been very important to me. It's been a guiding light. It's been an anchor. It has been a source of strength for me. And I want to challenge you guys to apply that in your lives. Because for me, the scriptures and my faith have gotten me through a lot of really difficult moments. And so there's so many great principles in Scripture, and I could think of so many, but just having a foundation that is of faith is so important. Our country, we have a great country. It was founded on a lot of those same principles that are taught in the Scriptures, but just having something to look to that is foundational, that's bigger than us, is so vitally important. And then I thought, well, here we are with the American Legion. These guys in the white shirts back there epitomize what it means to serve. And you ought to look up to them. You ought to look at them as an example. But I was also thinking about, we just recognized and honored those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day just a few days ago. And I thought, that is true service. Laying down one's life for someone else is true service. And they did that in defense of this great nation that we live in. And yes, let's give a round of applause. But I was also thinking of just, on the way here, I was thinking about folks from history, great figures of history that have made a difference in service. And a name came to mind, and I don't know, some of you may even know who this is, some of you may not. He's sort of an obscure figure at this point, but a guy by the name of William Wilberforce. Who's heard of William Wilberforce? Anybody? Got one back here. We got a couple of historians on the stage. Let's appreciate it, guys. But he was a member of Parliament. He was one of the youngest members of Parliament. In fact, one of his good friends was William Pitt, who was also a young member of Congress as well. He was a pretty amazing guy because service in his time was difficult. He was a guy that was in Parliament when the slave trade was pretty much at its peak. And he was a guy rightfully that found it appalling. He was what you'd call an abolitionist. And he championed the cause of abolishing the British slave trade. He worked really hard to do it. He had a lot of defeats, a lot of setbacks. At one point, he was thinking about quitting, getting out of Parliament, getting out of politics. And his relationship and his faith kept him grounded. His relationship in Jesus kept him grounded. His faith kept him grounded. He had great friends around him that kept him grounded. A guy by the name of John Newton. Some of you may have heard of John Newton. He wrote a famous song by the name of Amazing Grace. But he had a great friendship with John Newton, kept him grounded. But he stayed committed in the fight after setback and defeat time and time again. Culminating in the fact that in 1833, Parliament ended up passing the Slavery Abolition Act. He was already out of Parliament at that point. 3 days later, he actually died in 1833 after that act was passed, ending the British slave trade. But he stayed committed in his service, his faith, and he stayed grounded to what was important. He's really a pretty amazing figure. You ought to research him. But then I was thinking about, well, then what does it mean to take a stand? Be committed to standing. And I think again about William Wilberforce and the fact that he was committed to standing for what was right. Because I can tell you the easiest thing for him to do had not been to take a hard stance against slavery and slave trade. The British elites of the day, the wealthy people of the day were all against him. They made their money off of it. And it'd been really easy for him to step aside and say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to fight this fight. I'm not going to have this battle. But he didn't. He stayed committed. So as I think about what it means to take a stand, I think about him as well. So again, I offer this to you guys, and I'm not going to be long because RJ needs much more time than I do. But I'm going to challenge you again, be committed in faith, be committed in your service. Don't just take this one snapshot in time, this one moment at Boise State to get hyped up, and then you go back home, you go to your communities, you go off to college, whatever it might be, and you kind of fizzle out. Don't do that. Stay engaged, stay in the fight, stay committed in service, and then be ready to take a stand and do the hard things, but do the right things. Trust me, you do those things, you will be successful. Because this world is looking for people who are going to be committed. This world is looking for people who will show up on time, who will show up and do the hard work, who will show up and stand for the right things and stand when it's really tough to do so. So if you apply those things in your life, trust me, it'll make a difference. It's made a difference in mine. So I'm done. That's all I had to say. I'm going to introduce some other folks. But again, really appreciate you guys being engaged. Really appreciate you being here. Stay committed, and it'll make a difference. So I want to introduce, before I get to R.J. Hawk, Representative R.J. Hawk from Bryant, right? Not too far from here. I want to introduce my Senate colleagues. We have Senator Matt McKee from Hot Springs. Come on. A little more excitement. We have Senator Tyler Dees from Siloam Springs. Had a little bit of weather up there recently. You had a little bit of weather up there recently, so we need to keep those folks in our thoughts and prayers. There was quite a bit of damage. But Tyler, thanks for being here. My good friend and colleague, we started out as seatmates together, and he had enough. He couldn't take it, so he had to move one seat down from me in the Senate. Because I guess I was just that ugly to him. I don't know. But Senator Clark Tucker, great guy from Little Rock, Arkansas. Let's give it up for Senator Clark Tucker. All right, now without further ado, let's give it up for Representative R.J. Hawk.
So, is this thing working? Yeah, it is. I can't, I've got ADD really bad, so I can't stand behind a podium, so I have to walk a little bit. But I'm looking out across the crowd, and I see some guys over here in the blue that got their head in their hands. I saw a guy in the orange kind of laid back. He's bored. I need everybody to stand up real quick. Everybody stand up. I need everybody to stretch it out a little bit. Stretch it out. And I need everybody to give me a hoo-ah real on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hoo-ah! Okay, sit back down. Okay, you feel better now? Yeah? I am R.J. Hawk, State Representative District 81 from Bryant. I represent Bryant, Alexander, Shannon Hills, and a portion of Benton. I know I was looking at the roster. We've got a few folks from Bryant and a few folks from Benton right here, and I think one from Alexander. So those are going to be my favorites today. So if I need anybody to come up here and hang out, I'm going to call those guys. But, you know, I was thinking about this. I speak to a lot of colleges. I speak to high school groups. I've seen some of you guys already this year. And it really made me think, you know, you guys are getting ready to be seniors in high school, right? Most of you? Yeah. And you're at a point in your life where you got to start making decisions. You got to start making decisions. Is college right for you, right? Are you going to not go to college? Are you going to work in your local factory or work around your hometown? Are you going to be your next police officer? Whatever that may. But right now is when you start making those decisions. You made a decision to be here at Boise State, right? And so you guys have 1 year before you become adults, full-blown, full-fledged adults, where you're making decisions about how your path is going to be. And so as I was preparing for this speech, I was thinking about my life, right? I'm a guy from Athens, Texas. If you're not familiar where that is, it's in East Texas, just outside of Tyler. And it was my junior year of high school. And I was trying to think, you know, I played baseball. I was a pretty decent baseball player, played football. Thought that was the route. Thought I was going to go play college athletics, and the offers never came. The phone calls never came. Got a couple JUCO invites, but I really didn't care about doing that. And so my best friend and I, we decided, you know what, if we're not going to go play baseball or football, we're going to go be police officers. In Athens, Texas, if you're not familiar with Athens, you do two things, really. You either become a police officer or you go work in the steel mill. That's really it. You got some folks that, you know, if their parents have a little bit of money, they went to Texas A&M or went to the University of Texas, and, you know, you may have gone to Baylor if you were smart enough, but just not a lot of kids did that, right? There was no CT center, so I could go, if I wanted to be a plumber or if I wanted to be an electrician, there was nothing like that. So you really had two options. Well, I was a kid that I didn't have a dad. I did have a dad, but he was an alcoholic that wasn't in my life. I imagine there's probably people in this room that can relate to that. So I had a mom, and, you know, you can say it's manly or not, but my mom is my single best friend, right? My mom, thank you. You know, my mom taught me how to change a tire. My mom taught me how to iron and fold clothes. My mom taught me how to muck horse barns and stalls. My mom taught me everything that the man in our family should have done, right? And the one thing that my mom taught me when I was a really young kid, she was working a couple different jobs. She said, you know, they can take a lot of things from you, meaning they being the outside world. They can take a lot of things from you, but the one thing that they can't take away from you is your work ethic. Nobody in this room, nobody in this world can take away your work ethic. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much you grind, that's going to determine your success. Right? So it doesn't matter if you want to go be the next rocket scientist or you want to go and be, you know, a local plumber. The harder you work, that's going to determine your success. And so with all that being said, I was at that career, I was at the crossroads in my life trying to figure out what am I going to do. And I prayed about it, and I was, like I told you, I was playing baseball, and I played in a tournament in Dallas. This was going into my senior year, and I had a tournament of my life. I'm talking, had like 4 home runs. I'd never played this good, ever. And there was a school there that was recruiting a player on my team by the name of the University of Central Arkansas. Had never been to Arkansas in my life. In fact, whenever they came to me and they said, hey, we want to talk to you about coming to play baseball, I thought I knew of the University of Arkansas. I didn't know there was such thing as Central Arkansas. So I called Mom and I'm like, hey, look, I got this guy wanting me to come play baseball, and it's at Arkansas. And she's thinking, wow, I didn't think you were that good. But okay, cool, yeah. And so I run home, and we look over everything, and she goes, I thought the University of Arkansas was red. And I was like, I did too, but maybe they changed their colors. And so I called the coach immediately and said, I'm coming. Didn't go on a recruiting visit. Didn't do nothing. I had never been to Conway before. Never been. The closest to Arkansas I'd ever been was in Texarkana. That was it. And so I came. I had a single cab Dodge pickup truck, and I loaded that sucker down. Put a tarp over the back, everything that I had, and I rolled to Conway. Mom couldn't come because she had to work, and she had to watch over my 2 sisters. And I took a leap of faith after my senior year. Had no idea what I was getting into. Thinking that I was going to go play baseball and crush it and maybe go and be a Major League Baseball player. But what changed about that was whenever I got here, I was 3 games in and I tore my ACL and I never played again. Never played again. So now I'm thinking, oh gosh, you know, I've come all the way to Arkansas. It's 5 hours away from my home. I called Mom. I said, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to stay. I think I'm going to come back home. Wesley, my best friend's already at the academy. I'm going to go be a cop. And she said, no, you're not. No, you're not. She said, now's the time that you show your worth. You go find a job and you figure it out. Right? She said, and that's what my mom told me. I was thinking, Mom's going to be happy I'm going to come home. Like, it's going to be awesome. She said, no, you're going to stay up there. And so I fast forward to 2008. I got here in 2004. 2008, I was the first person in my family to get a college education. Graduated from the University of Central Arkansas. 2 weeks later, my mom, which I didn't know this, was getting her education at the University of Texas at Tyler, and she graduated 2 weeks after me. And my mom and I, in 2 weeks span, did that. So I say all that to say this. You're at a point in your lives right now where you've got to make a decision of what you want to do. I saw a study as I was coming up here today that right now in America, 43% of Americans don't believe the American dream is real. They don't think it exists anymore. Who in this room knows what the American dream is? About half the hands raised. The American dream is what you want it to be, right? I came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. I came from a family that had a single mom that raised me and my two sisters. I was destined to go work at the local steel mill or go be a police officer. But I took matters into my own hands, and I made it what I wanted it to be. I went to college. Now, I had a little push. My mom was there to push me the entire way. But I had somebody there that gave me that little coaching. I had a best friend back home who was constantly calling me and checking how I was doing, right? Because nobody from my hometown ever left to go do something different. And so right now, you guys are you're in that same crossroads. You now are getting ready to figure out what your next step is. And look, I encourage, if you don't take anything else out of this entire week, figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to do moving forward. You know, most people go to college, they change their major 3 or 4 times because they're trying to figure it out, right? Look, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, and this may not be popular. I know there's some UCA folks in the room. College isn't for everybody. Now, if you go to UCA, you can leave debt-free, by the way, just a little plug for UCA. But college ain't for everybody, y'all. And the narrative that we have had over the years, that people said, you've got to go to college, you've got to do this in order to be successful, is not true. It's not true. I got out of college at UCA. I spent 14 years on the radio in Little Rock, Arkansas, on 103.7 The Buzz, doing a morning radio show. How many career paths do you think you can go through from being in the radio business? Not a lot. Because here's the thing. What we did was we talked about sports. We talked about the Razorbacks. We talked about UCA. How many bankers go, well, you know, he's not in radio anymore. I think I'm going to hire him to do mortgages. How many insurance guys are going to go, yeah, you know what, he's going to be qualified to go be an insurance guy. And so when I left that, I had people encouraging me. I kept grinding. I kept pushing. And I out of nowhere, I decided to run for the city council in Bryan, Arkansas. Got elected. Did some changes. Set some different ordinances in place. Really helped people in our town. People within our community came to me and said, RJ, there's an open seat in the legislature in 2020. So we really think you need to run for it. I said, y'all, I don't know. That's big time. I don't know if I want to do all that. But they encouraged me. I said, I'll do it. I lost by 27 votes out of 30,000. I lost to a guy by the name of Keith Brooks, who's now my seatmate, one of my best friends in the legislature. But I lost to him by 27 votes. Did I give up? No. Because 2 years later, a new district opened up right in Saline County. I said, you know what? Let's give it another shot. Let's give it another go. I kept grinding. I kept making decisions that was going to better me. I didn't have anybody give me a handout. Nobody gave me a handout. This was all work that RJ was doing to push himself to be better. Because at the end of the day, the American dream was in sight. You make the American dream what you want it to be. There's no playbook for it. Right? So I say all that to say, this week, and I'll wrap up because I know there's some questions and answers that we're going to do. This week, come up with a plan. I know that we've got our, what are they called, gangs or cults or whatever you guys do? So yeah, those things. Yes, it's awesome. You guys need to get together, network Network, network, network. If you're in a red squad and you want to go meet some folks at the blue squad, you can make lifetime friends here. People that you may see in 20 years that you go, you know what, I saw you at Boys State, and he may be your local banker that he remembered you from Boys State. Network now. Create the American dream. Create a plan right here. Guys, thank you so much. I want to thank you for your attention. Yeah, and I want to introduce all my folks, and I was going to get everybody up to speak, but I'm just going to go down the row. I don't know, we've got 100 members, okay? So while the Senate has 35 and they know where everybody lives, I don't. So I'm gonna give the mic to each person. They can tell you where they're from, and we'll go with Johnny Rye first.
Time to go? Just tell them where you're from. Oh. Johnny Rye, Truman, Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, District 36. Just want to tell you guys, 51 years ago this week was my first time, and I was at Boys State, where you guys are at now. And I want to tell you, you're in a very, very, very important positioning right now. So think about everything that you're doing. Take everything serious, because I'm telling you, the world that you're fixing to go into is in front of you, and you're going to have a chance. You're going to have a chance to make things better, or maybe not so good. Be all you can be. Be all you can be. It's good to be with you.
Hello, I'm Representative Richard McGrew from Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm glad to see all of y'all here. I think you've made a great decision to take your time to come here and take part of this. And I'm a little concerned some of you didn't hold your hand up when you said the American dream. Well, I'm living proof the American dream works. And so believe in it, strive for it, and I'm glad you're here.
How are y'all today? My name is Wade Andrews, state rep from Camden. I was looking at the roster earlier. We got some Camden Fairview graduate people in here. All right. I know we had Camden Fairview. So when I was at Boys State back in 2013, it's 11 years ago now. I know it's a long time for y'all, but it's a short time for me. I was green shirt back there. I graduated high school. That's right. That's right. So my district covers from Camden, part of Magnolia, all the way to Louisville. So anybody from Camden, Harmony Grove area? All right. Magnolia? All right. Yeah. So it's always good to be here. I don't think RJ's going to let me talk too long. Time's up?
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Go for it. But I want to tell y'all something. You need to know your why. You need to know what your purpose in life is. And right now you probably you're like, wait, I don't even know what Boys State is, why I even came here. You learn it. One day you're going to figure out what your purpose is, what God put you on this earth to do. You're going to figure out what that reason is. For me, my life is public service. I absolutely love serving others. I serve people in the house. My day job, I'm a full-time firefighter for the city of Camden. So, y'all, thank you. So yes, I do rush into burning buildings, but we also do medical calls, and I see people on their best days and their worst days. And it humbles you when you see people hurting and you're able to help them. So whatever you do in this life, make sure that you serve others and put others before yourself. Thank you.
My name is Matt Brown, State Representative, District 55. Any of y'all from Conway? Can y'all stand up? Anybody from Conway? Anybody from Conway west of Harkrider, between Harkrider and the river? Stay standing. North of Dave Ward, stay standing. South of Prince Street, stay standing. All right, y'all are my district. Please vote for me. Now, I'd like to have something inspirational to say, but how can I follow Mr. Firefighter here? So my advice to y'all is just whatever you do, have a plan. You know, I volunteer with a lot of high school kids, and the ones that make it are the ones that have a plan. Whether that's college, the military, the trades, have a plan, and you'll be all right. And so instead of something inspirational, I'm kind of the jokester of the house, so and I'm also a lawyer, so I'll tell you a lawyer joke. It's my favorite ones. What is the difference between a vampire and a lawyer? Well, one is a soulless, that's more rhetorical, sorry. One is a soulless minion of hell in league with the devil that preys upon the souls of innocents, and the other one's a vampire.
I'm Representative Long, District 39, which covers parts of White, Jackson, and Independence County. Like Johnny, I was here 45 years ago. It was the first time I ever went to the Capitol, and it was quite inspirational to me. Didn't know at the time that someday I'd be in the Capitol, but we serve a great God, and if you find out what His purpose is for your life, you'll have an enjoyable life. I appreciate y'all being here.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach Gramlich. I am a state representative from Fort Smith. I'm a school teacher, so I decided to find some kids who are willing to learn in the last week of school, so thanks for being here today.
And these are members of our Arkansas legislature, both the Senate and the House. I guess now at this time, I guess we're going to do question and answer. That's what I was told? No? Yes? No? Okay. Here we go. They're coming up from the back. So I guess if you've got a question, line up over here like you did with Dr. Jones, and you can ask Senator Gilmore all the questions. Here, just.
So here's how we're going to do this. If you got questions, we may answer some, but then we're going to pass the really hard ones back here. All right? Y'all know how the rules work? Good? All right.
Yeah. Okay. So you start on that side, and do we have a mic down there? Here, yeah, you can have mine.
All right. Hello? All right. I've just got a quick question. Why politics? Why was politics your choice of serving your community? There are many other ways you could do. Obviously, you can do all sorts of other things to serve your community and your religious community or through public service outside of politics. Why politics? Why was that the choice?
I guess I'll start. So, you know, up until about 2009, maybe 2008, I didn't care anything about politics. I didn't keep up. I mean, I knew who the president was. I knew who my senators were. But I didn't keep up with issues, right? I was a sports guy through and through, right? And it's when I started getting involved in my community. I started volunteering at local charities. The Boys and Girls Club is a charity that I'm deeply involved with. And I started really getting involved with those, and I saw issues coming about. And then it wasn't really my own doing to go out and say, hey, I'm going to go run for state rep, right? It was people in my community that encouraged me, that said, hey, you know what, there's a seat open. We would really think that you'd be a great candidate for this, and we'd like to help you to get to that point. So that's kind of, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but that's where I was. I got asked to do it and got encouraged by a lot of people within my community.
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that real quick too. So I was a staffer. I worked for a congressman. I worked for lieutenant governor. I was involved in working campaigns. So I never saw myself as a candidate. I was really active in the community. I grew up in a small town, Crossett, Arkansas. Anybody here from Crossett, Arkansas? Yeah, here we go. So got involved in local community there, and okay, it's only a test. All right, I'll try to talk over that. So got involved in local community, serving the community, and an opportunity presented itself. And I'm a firm believer in preparation meets opportunity. So you go through life, you prepare yourself, you get involved, you stay committed to whatever those things are, as I talked about earlier, and then at some point, an opportunity will present itself. And so I saw it as a greater way to give back and to serve my community more and broaden out my scope of service. So let's go to the next.
Hello, my name is Taylor Connor. I just had a question for you. Everyone has something they love about their job and they hate about their job. What are y'all's love and hates of your job?
Well, there's a lot of things, and I'm going to pass this along so that my colleagues get a chance to answer this as well. There's a lot of things, and I think probably for me the greatest thing is just the rewarding part of helping people. Like when you solve a problem for someone, when they call you, they have no other place to turn, and you can solve that problem. For me, that's super rewarding. But I'm going to pass it along to some other colleagues, and we'll. Probably also dealing with people, right? There's so as the pastor of a church once said, he would be a great pastor if it wasn't for the people. And so at times, while it's very rewarding, it's also really challenging because you're dealing with people that sometimes going through the worst circumstances of their life. And hey, you get cussed at, you get threatened, you get called out. That's very rare, but it happens. But those are some of also the most challenging situations as well.
Senator Tyler Dees from Northwest Arkansas in Silent Springs area, and I love your question. This is my first term, and so like many of these other colleagues up here, the day you're elected, you're expected to be an expert in healthcare, and energy, and solar, and education, and taxes. Right? You're expected day one to know every single one of those areas, and the reality is you can't. That one of the things I love the most about this role is you get an opportunity to be a voice and to connect experts in different areas and to find solutions. I absolutely love that because that's what we're doing. We are connecting and being magnets to two different organizations, to two different skill sets, right, to be able to find solutions. The thing I hate is sometimes there's not always a great solution, right? That we have hard, complex problems. If they were easy, anybody would do it, right? But it's our job to find solutions to hard problems. And sometimes we don't always get the absolutely best outcome that we always wanted, but we get the best for what we have to deal with, right? We always need more money, more time, more resources to solve hard, complex problems. But the reality is it's a broken world, and we have a hard, complex situations, but we do the best we can. And that's how we keep going at it every single day. Is we are here being a voice for people who send us here. The reason I ran is mainly because of my kids. I've got a 14, 10, and 6-year-old at home, and I look at them. I don't want them being raised in next California, to be frank, right? I want to make sure that we fight for the Arkansas values where they are excited to be raising their family here and my future grandkids. Right? I want them to excel and have opportunities. And so that's what I love. I love working on those problems and getting the best outcomes and knowing that it's not always going to be easy.
I want to add one thing to that, and it wasn't mentioned on the hate part. Love part, I agree. Hate, the absolute sacrifice it is to be away from your family. My daughter was born December 23rd. Of 2022, and I was sworn into office January 9th of 2023. So 3 weeks after my daughter was born, I had to leave and go to Little Rock for basically 4 months. And so the first 4 months of my daughter's life, Monday through Thursday, I wasn't there. And there's special sessions, days, cut 2 or 3 days in Little Rock, afternoons, evenings, there's an absolute sacrifice for how much family time you're going to miss when you get into a job like this. And I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Thank you very much. Next question, please.
I'd like to do something first. Can Arkansas Boys State please stand and give this crowd of gentlemen a round of applause for coming in. I'm sorry, they hate sitting. I hate sitting. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. But and you guys get to stand, so it's fair. I thought that I would ask you guys a lot about yourselves, but mainly your networking points. I know you, the one that's about to sit down because you're getting uncomfortable standing. No, it's fine. I get it. I know you connected a lot with accolades and personal choice, and I really I dig that a lot because most of us come from AP backgrounds or honors, and most of us chose to be here. Some of us just felt like, why not? And I really liked your point of view with going with sports and everything. That was a strong point, and voting for willpower and freedom, and then helping us stretch because it was horrible. But why did you choose those networking points specifically? Those networking points. For you, it was athletics and basically freedom for America. And for you, you decided to do accolades and personal choice. Why did you choose those specifically?
Well, because they've made a difference in my life, right? So I've had the ability to, thanks to the way I grew up, my parents gave me a lot of opportunities to kind of figure out what I wanted to do in life. And I could do really well, or I could have screwed that up. And so I figured out pretty early on, hey, I want to take advantage of the opportunities I've been given. As I said a second ago, it's a lot of how I've lived my life is preparing for whatever opportunity may arise. And so I hope that answers your question in the sense of, like, for me, that's because it's worked for me. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but you have to figure that out, what works for you, what motivates you, what makes you get up, what makes you, rewards you in life, right? And the fact that you're here, you've chosen to take this path and be here, so don't let this opportunity go to waste. So as you go through the course of your life here in high school, as you go to college, whatever it might be, there's going to be tons of opportunities. Seize those opportunities and prepare yourself for the next opportunity. Because at the end of the day, life comes down to choices, and you're going to have a lot of choices to make, some good, some bad. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've said a lot of things that wish I could take back, quite frankly, especially in politics, right? But again, you have the ability to kind of chart your own path in a lot of ways. Some have a greater advantage than others, and that's true. But like you here today and at this event with Boise State, as it was said earlier, you have a ton of peers around you, all walks of life. Get to know them. Learn from their experience. Build those relationships. Because at the end of the day, those are people that when you need advice or you need counsel, you're in a bind or whatever it might be, those are folks you're going to call up and say, hey, I need your thoughts on this. I mean, I do that with colleagues in the Senate. I do that with family. I do that with just friends of mine who are successful in business or whatever it might be. So just seize the opportunities as they present, and then prepare yourself for the next. I think, Zach, did you have a follow-up?
Thanks for your question. Once again, Clark Tucker from Little Rock. We got any people from the Rock up in here today? That's what I'm talking about. All right. The answer to your question is actually very simple, but it's going to be different for everybody in the room. The answer is whatever it is you're passionate about. Your passion is what you should go into. For RJ, it was baseball, and it's going to be different for everybody in here, whether it's 4-H or football or, whatever it might be, debate, mock trial. But you need to, and I'm not talking about Fortnite either, okay? Your passion needs to be something that's a cause greater than yourself. And if you do something because you think it's going to be a resume booster for you, you're not going to be as good at that as if it's something that you really care deeply about. And if it's something that you care deeply about, you're going to be great at it because you're going to put your heart into it and you're going to go the extra mile to make it happen and get it done. So y'all need to figure out what it is, and that could be politics, to go back to the question from earlier. It could be teaching, literacy, healthcare, whatever the case might be. It can be something different for everybody. But you got to figure out what drives you inside, and that's what you got to pour your heart into. And I'm going to offer one concrete suggestion for y'all, something my 14-year-old son and I did recently. By the way, I'm also an alum. I was here in '98, so 26 years ago. I was in that blue shirt right there, yeah. So you get 168 hours in the week. I don't care if you're old, young, rich, poor, smart, lazy, whatever the case might be. You get 168 hours in a week. And you can do this exercise. It takes 10 minutes. Sit down and write out how you spend those hours. And after you do that, write out how you want to spend those hours. And you will learn a lot about what your priorities are. The first time, when you see how you actually spend your hours, you can see how much you spend on Fortnite,
or TikTok or Instagram or whatever the case might be. And if you have a phone, it'll tell you exactly how much time you spend every week on those apps. And I bet you'll be surprised. And then compare that to how much you spend on what it is you're passionate about. Baseball, your church, whatever the case might be. Then take a minute and figure out how you want to spend those hours. How you can make the most difference, not only for yourself, but for a cause greater than yourself. So figure out what it is you care about, and then do that exercise and demonstrate a commitment to it.
And I'll be quick because I want to get a lot of these guys in here. At the end of the day, it's all about being curious, right? You don't know what you don't know, and so one of my favorite things to do is if I go up to Tyler and I don't know him from Adam, I want to learn about Tyler. If he's got a business, I want to learn what made him successful. And you've got an opportunity. There's like 500 kids that are here, right? You've got an opportunity to network with 499 people. You've already heard there's been people on this stage that were here 13, 20 years ago that are still in Arkansas, right? That will still make an impact. There's people here, when they go into the professional world, you could run back into them. And so it's like, try to make as many networking opportunities here, and then what you learn from here, take that to the outside world. Learn about people, learn about how they became successful, and it'll help you a long way as you go through your adult life. So, next question. Thank you.
So obviously all of you guys were successful. You got into office, but I was wondering if you could do it all again, if you could run your campaign again, what would you do differently?
I would have won the first time. No, here's the thing. And I can't speak for everybody else, but I wouldn't do anything different. And here's why. When I ran, I ran on the Republican ticket. I did not one time do any negative campaigning. I did me. I talked about me. I talked about my merits, what I did. Now, my opponents came after me. I didn't respond. I did me, right? Because at the end of the day, I wanted people to know what I stood for, what I was doing. We did this, and I'll tell you right here. So when I was on the radio, I know some of the older folks in the back of the room probably remember there was a radio guy by the name of Tommy Smith, right? And Tommy was, if you know who Howard Stern is, he was like the Howard Stern of Little Rock, right? Real shock jock type of guy. And Tommy did this thing for 30 years that was called the Babe Bracket. And what it was local people within our community, mainly news people and weather people, he would ask them if he could put them in a bracket, and callers would call in and vote on who to advance in the bracket. We did it during March Madness. Well, we did that for the first 10 years of my career. I did not create this at all. I was just on the show, and I took part. But when I ran for office, my opponent said that I was against women, and I was a male chauvinist, and that because we voted on looks of women 10 years ago. I didn't create this thing. I was on the show. And so I put out we put out our side. And so to answer your question, I wouldn't do anything different. I walked 6,000 doors and actually met and knocked on doors and shook somebody's hand. It was hard. I ran through 2 pairs of shoe soles. And so, I wouldn't do anything different. Wade, I don't know if you can say anything different.
One thing I've learned in life is you can't go back and change the past. And we can learn from our mistakes. And the great thing about y'all, ask us any question you want, because these are really good questions. Because I can't go back and change my mistakes, but I can tell you about them, and I can tell y'all not to do that same mistake. So I think you asked specifically what I would do differently in a political campaign, right? So a little backstory here. The first time I ran for the State House was 2018. I was a senior in college, and I lost the general election by about 600 votes. I didn't run in 20. I took time off and I focused on, besides being a firefighter, I'm also an auctioneer. And so I focused on my auction business and focused on that. 2022 comes around, and that was after redistricting, and there was an opportunity again to run for state rep. And I really thought about it, like, do I want to go through that same thing again? Do I want to go through that possibility of losing again? And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I don't regret running in 2018. Yeah, looking back, that was not a district made for a Republican. It was not a district that I could have won. But I learned a lot. I networked. I met a lot of people who helped me in business, because the people I met in business, on the campaign trail, I later actually went into business with some. I met a lot of people. It opened a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities. Just because you fail at something, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Just because you lose a campaign doesn't mean you're done, you got to go home and waste the rest of your life away. The sun comes up the next morning. Every day's a new day. It is what you make it. If you sit and you're depressed and you're gloomy, that's on you. But if you go and build and do better and say, I'm going to overcome, it's all mental, guys. It's all mental. If you say you're going to overcome, then you are going to overcome. Long story short, I came back in 2022, and I beat the guy who had been there 12 years here on campaigns. Get involved with whatever political party you want to get involved in. For me, I got involved with college Republicans. When I went to college at SAU in Magnolia. And so I got involved with college Republicans. That led me to get involved with the state Republican Party. I met a lot of people. I could walk into the room and the governor would know who I was. Nowadays, I don't even want to talk to the governor, but that's a joke. But the point is, if you want to do something, figure out a way to get into the door. Make sure a door opens for you. Insert yourself into certain circles. You've heard the saying, if you want to be a millionaire, start hanging out with millionaires. If you want to be a plumber, start hanging out with plumbers. If you want to be a teacher, start hanging out with teachers. Put yourself where you want to be. Does that kind of answer your question? All right.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna have to go quick because we got like 10 minutes and we got to go to committee. So I want to get as many of these questions as possible. So next up.
Sorry, forgive me. I'm a little weak in the voice right now. A lot of chanting through a very hype week. I'm sorry, my voice is really weak right now. But I did want to ask, golly, you, young sir in the back with the yellow tie, you talked about passion and what you're doing. Set your eyes on your dreams. On the way up here, I know it's very hard to get demoralized by things that are going on in your life. I wanted to ask, I don't know if this is a personal question, but I wanted to ask a difficulty that you had to power through to get up to the point that you're in now.
Wait, did you hear that? He wants to know the path. Okay, one more time. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Difficulty to overcome to where I get to where? Patience is. So I'm a very impatient person. I want something right here, right now. And I've had to learn that I've got to wait on things. Like my colleague, Senator Gilmore, I pray about a lot of things, and I ask God for things, and God answers every prayer. But sometimes he says no, or sometimes he says not yet. And that's something none of us like to hear, because in this day and time, we want something right here, right now. And so patience is something I've had to struggle with, and something I've had to overcome and just, literally learn to be patient. Does that kind of answer your question?
Cool. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Tyron Block of Mickey High School. Just to make my question straightforward, but how do you guys deal with people who don't seem, or facade people, corrupt politics in Arkansas? There's no doubt in my heart that all these people, all you all on stage, have good intentions, have honest spirits and souls. But if you were to encounter somebody in your party or your political area, how would you deal with that in advance?
Okay, we're going to let Senator Matt McKee answer this.
Thank you. I think that's an incredibly important question because what do we see in the news all day, every day, right? We hear about this side is against this side, and they can't get along, they can't come to a decision, and we hear about them stealing things or misappropriating funds or doing all those things. So like Senator Dees, this is my first session, my first term, and one of the greatest things I realized when I got into the Capitol in Little Rock and was sworn into office was the Senate. I can't speak for the House other than I know that the majority of the House is made up of good Christian men and women who are just trying to do their best to serve their constituents. And being a member of the Senate, it was a relief to me to see that there's 35 of us. There are members from all different walks of life. We've got everything from rice farmers to pharmacists to massage therapists to retired teachers. They're just coming from all over. And they're people that are just trying to do the right thing for the people that they represent. There are, more often than not, when you see quote-unquote scandals, it's because somebody made a mistake, right? It's not because they were trying to steal from the people of Arkansas. It's not because they were trying to do anything nefarious. 9 times out of 10, it was just because they messed up with a procedural thing in getting something done. So I know that there's always concerns with that. I love when I get a chance to put people at ease a little bit, especially in Arkansas, because we have gone through, in our history as a state, many times when there were bad people who were not doing what was right for their constituents. I think the voters in Arkansas should be very pleased and proud with the fact that we have constitutional officers, we have a legislature, and there are so many people looking over our shoulders every day. There are so many people that if there's nefarious stuff going on, it is usually quickly found out, and once it gets some sunlight shown on it, we can handle those things. So I think that was a good question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Gullidge. I'm from Bergman High School. I just wanted to ask you how you felt about the statement, politics shouldn't be a career, it should be a civic duty.
So the question is, politics shouldn't be a career, it should be a civic duty. And I think that that's exactly right, and that's what our founding fathers intended, right? So on this stage, like I spoke about just a minute ago, you have people from all different walks of life, people that are business owners, people that work for the state, people that worked for their local county governments, and I think it is incredibly important. In Arkansas, we have part-time legislators, okay? I remodel kitchens and bathrooms, okay? So every legislator up here has another job, and they are in the communities that they represent on a daily and weekly basis amongst their peers. And so when you've got people, unfortunately, like we have, where they go to Washington or they go to their state capital and they're never in their home communities, they're never in those places, you can see how it'd be easy to lose touch, can't you? And so we have term limits in Arkansas that ensure that we don't serve more than 18 years in the legislature one way or the other. And I think that it's incredibly important that whether we serve a length of time, we can all debate on that length of time, but the fact that we're in our communities on a daily basis is probably the most important factor, so that we keep touch with the people that we represent.
Well, all right, let's go ahead and take the next question because we've got 5 minutes till we go.
Hello, my name is Leighton Sutherland, and I just wanted to ask, what have you guys done to better Arkansas since you've been in office?
Repeat that again, I couldn't quite hear it.
My name is Leighton Sutherland, and I just wanted to ask what you guys have done to better Arkansas since you've been elected.
Well, that's a huge question because each of us has done a lot of different things. You know, I think one of the most important things we do, we're elected to represent the people in our district. So listening to the people in our district and how they want us to affect change. We affect the laws of Arkansas. So we change the laws that affect you and everyone in our district. So when you say, what have we done? You can look at some of the major laws we've passed, the LEARNS agenda that is affecting education in a huge way in Arkansas. is something we've reduced taxes in Arkansas, which makes us more competitive to our neighboring states, so we have more economic growth here in Arkansas. There's a lot of different things we do. Those are some of the major things that we've done recently. But it's for me, what I'm doing to affect Arkansas is some of the things that's brought to me in my community about some of the laws that have to do with the criminal things in our community. One of the first questions asked was, why be a politician? And I got to say that I'm one of the older guys here, and that wasn't on my agenda for a long time. You know, I didn't like politicians. You know, I didn't want to be called a politician. But I got into it because I realized I love serving the people. I have been very successful in my career. I was an electrical contractor and a real estate investor and developer, and I was actually, a quick story, I had over 400 rental units in Hot Springs, a little bit in Little Rock, and I could manage my own properties legally. But if you wanted me to manage yours, with all my knowledge and experience, it was a felony for me to do that. So I was sitting in class, and they asked me why I was here, and I said, I'm here because I've got to come here to get this license to do what I already do better than any real estate, I'm getting in trouble for this, but any real estate broker that I had met at the time, and there's some that are doing a great job. And the lady that was teaching the class response was, well, if you don't like it, why don't you run for office and change the law? I'm here. So that's one of the reasons I became a politician, is so that I could affect what affected the people. Because if we're really doing our job honestly, we're representing the people in our district, and we listen to them and we do what we need to do for them. So, and I don't think that y'all know, you can go to the state representative or the senator in your area, and you can talk to them about a law or something that you don't like and encourage them to change that and affect that. Thank you.
Hey, and real quick, Matt Brown, he's going to add to that, and then we'll take one final question.
Well, Representative McGrew actually got a lot of what I was going to say, so thanks for that. What have I done to make Arkansas better? Well, number one, I've stayed out of the pen, and number two, I've stayed out of the paper. So I think that's two big things with a politician. But like Representative McGrew said, I mean, we've had some major legislation this past legislative session. You know, the LEARNS Act, which is going to affect education in a big way. Is it perfect? No. But all I know is that what we've been doing for the past 40 some odd years isn't working, so let's try something new. We've also had prison reform, same thing. But on a personal level, what I like to think that I've done is, you know, the House and the Senate are made up of normal people that won their elections and got down there. And like someone else said, we've got pharmacists and massage therapists and teachers and truck drivers and things of that. They're not lawyers and they're not experts. There's actually very few, I guess Senator Tucker and I are the only ones here on the stage are actually lawyers, very few in the House. And so one thing I have tried to do is bring my expertise as a lawyer to the House to help other members. So like when I see a bill, I go through the bill and I think about, if I'm a lawyer in court trying to fight this, how would I defeat this bill? How would I tie it up in court? You know, what arguments would I make? Or if it's a bad bill, same thing. Hey, these are the problems with this bill. And then I'll go to the member privately. You know, hey, read your bill. I see what you're trying to do. You may want to change this sentence and this sentence, because if you don't, this is what someone down the road could say. And so we all kind of work together to get the job done. And really, I think that's the best part of what we do, is we're working together. We're just living our lives, but we're trying to do the best we can by the people of Arkansas, and hopefully we leave the state a little bit better off than we found it.
And Representative Long's going to take the last question.
Hey, how y'all doing today? I just got one question. Where do y'all get y'all suits and ties from?
Well, the gentleman that I get mine from, he has a place in Little Rock called Q Clothier, and he's a great place to get some nice suits. They're custom made and really, I think, a very affordable price. They're made in Italy. It's Q Clothier in Little Rock.
Spell it. Yeah.
What did he say? What Ray said?
I couldn't hear.
I can't hear.
Hughes Clothier, right? Hughes, Hughes, Clothier, Clothier. I just did a spelling bee in front of 500 kids. There we go. Okay, that's going to do it. Oh, real fast, Johnny Rye from Truman is going to say a quick word.
Guys, we've covered a lot of ground today. I think we've done a good job, but there's one thing that I think that we have failed to mention. These guys that are here today, they were sitting in the seats that you were in years ago. But a listener, a good listener, that's something that we have all got to understand. We are problem solvers. We listen to you all. We listen to your mothers and your dads. And I think that we do a fair job, and I think we're getting better at it as we go. But I think it's so important to be able to listen to other people and not always be the one that gets to speak, but the one that actually is feeding us with things that we need to do. We need to be able to listen to that and make that work in Arkansas. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to a bunch of long-winded politicians talking about all my colleagues, not me, of course, but thank you for being here. Thanks for what you do. Go back to your communities, make a difference, take what you've learned here, take the relationships you've built here, and use those throughout your life. I think we're wrapped up. RJ, you want to close it up? We're going to committee meetings. Thank you all again. Let's go have a great rest of the day.
We're going to have Mr. Cotton come up and give an announcement, and then we'll give you updates about next steps.
If you're a delegate from Yell County, I think it's just Dardanelle and Danville. I don't think there's any Two Rivers or Western Yell. Yell County, or if you're a delegate from Pope County, that'd be Russellville and Adkins, and I don't think there's a Hector, a Pottsville, or a Dover. Yell County and Pope County, meet me out in the lobby just as soon as this is over. Thank you.
All right, so for everybody, hey, can you guys hear me? Okay. For everybody that's elected to district office, that means if you're elected to state representative or state senator, you're going to stay back. So you're going to go ahead and sit down, or at the very least make sure that you do not leave the building. For everybody else, if county councilors can help get everybody out to dismiss them to lunch, that'd be greatly appreciated. Again, everybody, state rep and state senator, you're going to stay back. Thank you.
It'll still be when do we need to go now? You can, but there's now 1 hour, 2 bills. Are you in public health? They slapped through some things. Here's the voice being in about 10 minutes.